Hello and welcome to another one of D's ADD videos. Today we're going to be talking about inequalities. What are the basics of inequalities? Well, they're based off these Boolean symbols that indicate whether one value is greater than, less than, greater than, or equal to, or less than or equal to another value. Usually the larger end of this thing points to the larger number or value, and the smaller point points to the smaller end. Okay? So there are two different types, main types, and one is linear. The highest power of x is 1 in your inequality, and it's like 3x plus 1 is less than 4. Those are pretty straightforward. We just solve for x. Okay. Nonlinear, it gets a little bit more complicated. You have to use a process called sign analysis. So let's look at linear first. Linear, like I said before, you just solve for x, and you're good to go. Make sure that you remember whenever you either A, multiply or divide by a negative number, or if you flip both sides of the inequality, you have to change the direction of the sign. So in other words, less than should become greater than, or should switch to greater than, so switch to less than, whatever it is. Okay, just change the direction. The other type is nonlinear, of which we're first going to discuss the ones that have a power of x greater than 1. So like x squared minus 2x minus 15. First, make sure it's less than 0. If there's anything besides a 0, move it over, and then after that, factor and solve and get your cut points. Okay, these cut points are going to be our main breaking points for our domain, or our answers to these questions. So you're going to plot these points on a number line, and you're going to test on either side of a point by plugging these test points here into your function. Okay, and if your question's asking for where is it less than 0, you would take all of your regions that had a minus sign. If it was greater than 0, it would be a plus sign. Okay, if it was a greater than or less than sign, you use parentheses. And if it's equal included, we have to use a bracket. Bracket means up to and including. Parentheses means not including. Okay. So then the last type we're going to look at, it's also a sign analysis type problem in which you have to do the number line, is when you have a fraction and an inequality. Alright? So learn these rules for inequalities. They'll show up again when you're being asked domain questions, because for instance a domain of a radical has to be positive, right? Well, how do we say that mathematically? Greater than or 0, or greater than or equal to 0, depending on whether or not it's in the denominator. So either way, if we have a fraction and an inequality, we set the numerator equal to 0 and the denominator equal to 0, solve, and get our cut points. We plot these points on the number line. Open dot means not including, and if there was no equal sign, closed dot would include it. Do your test points in the function, both the numerator and denominator, and just answer accordingly. If it's plus, minus, plus, and the question is greater than 0, you would only pick the plus areas for your answer. All this will be apparent once you watch the example videos. Now, even if you have an equal sign, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, the cut point from the denominator gets an open dot no matter what, because you can never equal 0 in the denominator. So it should always be a parentheses when we're dealing with a cut point in the denominator. Okay? Hope I've clarified the concept of how to deal with inequalities. Practice, practice, practice. Check out the example videos. Thank you and have a nice day.